Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great, and we are back with another video series, and this time we are going to be working on a timer app for WatchOS. Okay, so once again this is going to be WatchOS in SwiftUI app, and here's what the app is going to look like. So we're going to have the main interface where you can actually select the timers. So we're gonna build so these dials that you see, we're gonna build them in SwiftUI. So they're not basically an image or anything, they're actually a view. And this looks very close to what you have in your watch, basically in your Apple Watch, and we're gonna actually mimic that similar. So basically you have, like, different categories. So you have 1 minute, 3 minute timer, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15, 30, and then you have 1 hour and 2 hour. Okay, you can further extend it to provide custom options. So watch my other WatchOS videos to see, like, how to add buttons and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is basically what our timer app is gonna look like, the front page. When you make a selection, so I have sped things up, so timer is gonna go really little fast. So let me show you, like, what timer looks like. So this is what timer is gonna run for 1 minute. So it's actually gonna complete in 30 seconds because I have doubled the speed, but your timer is gonna run, and when it's done you can actually close the timer. Now that similar process repeats for each time interval that you have actually defined. So you have a circular progress bar that's actually sort of like, decreasing, and your timer is running, and when as soon as it reaches 50%, it changes, the ring changes its color to orange, and then when it's at the last 15 seconds, that's when it's actually gonna change its color to red. So basically, so the logic itself is, when your timer is running, right, you have this green ring when it's full. Okay, so when it reaches 50% of the overall of the total time, then it's gonna turn into orange, and when it has completed like 75% of the time, then it's gonna turn into red. You can cancel the timer just by clicking back, and you can set for, like, an hour, or you can set timer for 2 hours. So you can add, like, your own selection. Once again, my timer is going fast because I'm actually triggering this timer interval every like twice every second to speed things up. But we can actually see how we can adjust that, like, to basically have it like tick it every second. So let me go ahead and do that really quickly so I can show you that's actually gonna do a little bit, like, it's gonna mimic the way the original timer is supposed to be. And yeah, so it's building. Let me launch the app. Okay, so the app is launching, and there we go. So I'm gonna click on 1 minute, and okay, so I just spread things up a little bit more, so let me fix that. All right, so so launching the app again. There was a dot in the wrong spot. Okay, there we go. So we have our timer, and this is our 1 minute. This is what our 1 minute looks like. So as you can see, you have, like, a timer with animation as the ring is gonna complete, or ring is gonna basically shrink, to show you, like, how 1 minute is gonna pass. Okay, so yeah, so this is gonna be the app that we're gonna be working on. Although it is, like, just two screens, there's a lot of logic, a lot of things that are gonna go in here that's actually gonna make it all possible, and you're gonna learn a whole bunch of things. So I hope you are excited to continue on to this journey and build this timer app out. What we're going to do is next we're going to talk about learning objectives, and then we're going to jump right into coding. All right, so before we jump into the learning objectives, I want to really quickly talk about the channel itself. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click on subscribe, please, so you can you get the alert whenever we are uploading new content, and we constantly upload new content, so you don't miss anything. Okay, and this also gives me confidence that, like, the videos that I'm creating are actually helping somebody. So yeah, please subscribe, and then you have, like, a whole bunch of things on the channel itself. So go ahead and explore the channel, and like, see if there's anything that you want to see in future videos, and we can possibly include those in our future videos, right? Check out the playlist. There's, like, a lot of playlists that we have, and you have, like, these playlists that actually cover different aspects of the of the iOS development or data science development and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of content that's here, so you can actually just check it out. And yeah, so let's go ahead and hop right back into our learning objectives. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the things that we're going to be learning in this video series. So there are a whole bunch, like, you're going to be learning about WatchOS, you're going to be learning about SwiftUI and WatchOS. So basically all this, all these views and screens that we have created using SwiftUI. So there is no storyboard. In this case, you're going to be learning about view models. So how to model your views according to different logic, basically how to alter your data based on certain conditions and stuff like that. So you're going to see how you can actually set up your timer model according to that. You're going to learn about how to use combine based timer publisher and monitor the progress, basically, and then act based on those timer values. You're going to be learning about how to create a progress ring. Now this time, this progress ring is going to go backward. So basically it's going to come empty instead of, like, filling it up. So it's a little bit different, like, from the from the other progress rings. So you're going to see how you can do that. You're going to learn about WatchOS environment access. So basically how to ask WatchOS to tell your app about like, certain things about the current device, like, what the interface is, like, what the current interface is, what the bounds are, and stuff like that. You're going to be creating a custom view that's actually going to be using SwiftUI basic shapes to create this dial view. And then you're going to be also learning about how to present different views and dismiss different views within WatchOS, which is very similar to, like, what you do in iOS if you're using SwiftUI. So there's a whole bunch that you're going to be actually doing. So let's go ahead and hop right into the development, and we are going to get. All right, so I went ahead and actually created a project right here. So if you have not created any WatchOS projects, all you need to do is go to File, New, and then select Project. And right here, new project window is going to open up. So you have, like, a few different tabs. So depending upon which one you selected, it's going to have that selection. So go ahead and select the Watch OS and select the one that says Watch App. Okay, and we're going to click next, and right here we are going to give ourselves a product name like timer app or something. Okay, and make sure you have interface selected as SwiftUI, lifecycle selected as SwiftUI app, language of course Swift, and uncheck this include notification scene, because we are not going to be working with notifications in this case. Okay, just click next, save it at your location, and you're gonna be back here where I am. Okay, so with this state, let's go ahead and run this project and see what we have going so far. Okay, so I'm going to just click on the build and run it. All right, so I have the app running. It took a little bit to run, maybe about 30 seconds or so. But yeah, so this is what I see. I have good old hello world, and now we're gonna actually go ahead and start setting up our project. Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to start with adding some groups. So one of the group I need is gonna be for models, although there's going to be just one model, but we're still gonna keep that as models. So in case you want to add something else in future, we're gonna have views. Okay, and I'm also gonna create a group for utils, although we're gonna have just one util. Okay, all right, so with this, our project is set up. Our launch point again is going to be the content view. So basically, if you want to configure your launch point something else, go to your app, and instead of content view, let's say you want to delete this content view and have a main or something like that, right? You can just call that main from right here. Okay, so that is going to basically give access directly to your view, and in our case, it's going to be the content view where we're gonna launch our app from. Okay, so next up, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a tick view. That is the dial itself that we have created. So we're going to see how you can create a tick view. We're going to create a timer cell and stuff like that. And then we're going to develop our timer model, because we're going to need that to proceed from there on. Okay, so next up, we're going to work on the tick view. All right, so let's go ahead and add a new view. So I'm gonna select my view, press Command N to add a new file. All right, and what we're gonna do is we are going to select SwiftUI view in this case, and I'm gonna click Enter, and make sure your target is Timer App Watch extension, and it is selected. All right, we're gonna call this tick view. Okay, so this is our tick view. I'm gonna click resume here. Gonna give ourselves a little bit more room, and yeah, while it's loading, we're gonna get started right here. Okay, so one of the things that we need actually is we're gonna get different ticks for our view, and these ticks are basically those lines that you have. So if I go back into the simulator and select not this one, see this one. So these are ticks, and these are 5 ticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and fifth is highlighted with a darker color. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are 60 ticks representing each second in a minute. Okay, so we are going to create this tick view first to actually draw these ticks on the screen. Okay, all right, so I guess first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function called tick here, and this function is going to take a tick position, so where it needs to be drawn, and it's going to return some view. All right, now here we're going to create a VStack. Okay, and inside this VStack we're going to have a rectangle. Okay, this rectangle is going to have a fill color, and we're going to select the color as color.primary with opacity, and this is the opacity where we're going to decide if our tick is going to be the bold one or just the regular one. So I'm going to say tick if it can be, if tick mod 5, right, is equal to 0. Okay, so that means it's a divisible of 5. Then we're gonna say just make the opacity as 1. Otherwise, make the opacity as 0.4. Okay, and then we're gonna give it a frame, and the frame is gonna have width and height. So width is gonna be 0.5. Height, again, we can actually logic it based on the modulus of 5, and we're gonna say if it's 0, then we're gonna show it. Wait, we can have just one height actually. Height wise, they're all gonna be same. We don't want to change the height. We'll see. Okay, let's keep it height as 7 for now. All right. Spacer we're gonna have, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply a rotation effect to this, and what this rotation effect is gonna do is gonna rotate the tick. So we're gonna calculate the degree based upon the tick. So we're gonna say take a double value. Okay, so let's see, too many brackets. All right, take a double and take our tick and convert it into double. Then divide that by 60. Okay, and then basically multiply it with 360. Okay, all right, 360 is the whole dial, the circle. So now when you have your tick view ready, we can actually create a Z stack here for our body, and we're gonna say for each 0 to less than 60. Okay, so we're gonna repeat this 60 times. We're gonna start our index with 0, so so we're gonna go 1 less than 60, and for each tick in, we're gonna say self dot. Go on your self, you just say tick, and this tick is gonna take at tick. Okay. All right. Next, we're gonna have geometry reader. Okay, this geometry reader is gonna give us access to geometry proxy. We're gonna call it geo. And inside our Z stack, what we're gonna say is we need an empty view. All right, and a frame with width as geo dot size dot width, and we're gonna subtract 40 from this. And for the height, geo dot size dot height, subtract 30 from that. Alignment, we're gonna keep it center. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, so can we do self dot? Okay, we can, because we are calling this as tick, and function is also as a tick. Let's call it tick view. Oh, we already have a tick view, so that's okay. Okay. All right, I'm gonna try to run our canvas. So I just press Command Option P to refresh our view on the side, basically where our canvas is displayed, or our UI is going to be displayed, and there you go. This is what you see. So what you see is these ticks being drawn, right? Okay, so let's play with the height. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna say take this logic, and you can actually sort of like make the height smaller or bigger or smaller. So it's like 7 to 2, something like that. Okay, so if you look at that, there you go. That actually, I mean, that even looks better. So I'm gonna keep it this one because I like this one better. But if you wanna have like your tick basically bold and stuff like that, yeah, go ahead and give it a width, different width depending upon where you wanna put it. So for example, if I can use the same logic, I can actually apply that here, and I can say if it's 0, I want to have 1, otherwise I'm going to have 0.5, something like that. Okay, so there you go. Well, more I'm modifying, more I'm liking it, so I'm going to keep it this one. All right, awesome. So this is our tick view, and what we're gonna do is it looks really big, but that's not gonna be the only thing that's gonna be displayed on the screen. We're gonna have like a minute, how many minutes do they take and stuff like that inside our view. So let's go ahead and put that inside a cell. Now, by the way, this tick view is actually reusable, so you can take this and put it and build um, a watch, a clock kind of app, right? So yeah, it can be reused. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the next video. Before I create timer cell, I do want to create the timer model, I think. So I'm actually going to go and create the timer model first. So let's go ahead and create the timer model. So we have it ready whenever we need to use it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and create our timer model. So we don't have anything in the model. So let's go ahead and create any file. I'm gonna once again press Command Shift N to add a new, oh, not Command Shift N, just Command N. Command Shift N is for creating new project. Command N is to create a new file. So I'm gonna select a Swift file this time. I'm gonna click Next, and here we're gonna name this timer model. Okay, now this timer model is gonna do it's gonna be dual purpose. Okay, so what it's gonna do is it's basically going to have your not only your timer model, which is gonna have a time title, unit title as well, but it's gonna hold all the possible values for the timer and an enum for the timer unit. So we can actually combine all of that and put it in here. So this is going to be basically our sort of like a view and view model, model and view model combination. So we don't have to take that logic and basically sprinkle it around inside our views. Okay, so let's go ahead and start right here. Okay, so we're going to create a struct timer model, and this timer model is going to have a time, which is going to be int. This is going to have a time title, which is going to be a string, and this time title is simply going to return the time in string format. This is what I was talking about when I was telling you that we are building it as a model and a view model. So if you want to separate it out, you can take this logic right here and put it in a view model. Okay, because our project is really small, I don't want to create a bunch of files just for just to follow something. You are free to structure your code the way you want to. I want to keep it together. This way I know what time is going to be and what time title is going to return. Okay, I'm going to create a unit. Okay, now unit represents a timer unit, meaning when you look at your timer, so let's go ahead and take a look at our timer app. You have 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, but as soon as you have 30 minutes, after that, next logical thing is to show either 60-minute or an hour. Okay, so the original timer app inside your Apple Watch shows this as 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 5 hour, and so on. Okay, so that is something you can do, right? You can have 60-minute and 60-minute or 90-minute and stuff like that, or you can present it more user friendly, like minutes to an hour. When it is 60 minutes, just they change it to 1 hour. Now for that, we're gonna capture that inside the unit. Our unit is gonna represent two values. It's gonna be minute or hour. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an enum here called timer unit, and this enum is gonna be a string type. So we can actually give it a value, an associated value for this. So it's going to be min, and then second one is going to be hour, which is going to be HR. Okay. Now we do want to pluralize this, so we're going to say plural of this is something that you can get, and we're going to put a switch statement on self, and we're going to say when the value is min and you're asking for a plural value of that, you're going to simply return that as mins. Okay, and you can either have a default or let's finish the case, because we only have two cases. So you want to create like a two case scenario. So we're gonna say HRS is hours. Okay, so when it's 1 hour, then it's gonna be displayed as 1 hour. Otherwise, it's gonna be 1 or 2 hours, right? All right. So let's go back into the unit part. Okay, to the unit part, and this is going to be a timer unit. Okay, and this is going to have an associated like computed property, which is going to be unit title. All right, this is going to be of type string, and what this is going to do is basically it's going to determine if I need to show the time first of all unit as pluralized or not. Okay, so I'm going to say if time is greater than 1, right, then return unit dot plural. So return the plural form of the unit. Otherwise, just return unit dot raw value. Okay, so that way we're gonna get access to the unit correctly. So if it's 1 minute, we're gonna get 1 minute, or otherwise we get 2 minutes. All right, now next up we're gonna create an init, and this init is gonna expect user, whoever is initializing this timer model, expect them to pass a time and a unit. Okay, so if the time is greater than equal to 60, we're gonna say self dot time is equal to time divided by 60. Okay, so if it's like 60 minutes, right, what we want to show is it's actually an hour. It's equivalent to an hour, so we're gonna write that logic here, and we're gonna also change the unit to hour. Okay, if that's not the case, then we're gonna simply say self dot timer, time is equal to time, self dot unit is equal to unit. So simply initialize that value. Okay, all right, we're also going to have a static function which is going to hold possible values for our timer. Okay, so we're going to say static func all timer values, and this is going to return an array of timer model. What we're going to return is an array, like we said, of timer model with this. So I'm going to take this, put a comma, copy it. Okay, so let me put the values so it's going to always run into this. So 1 minute is going to be the first one. Second one is going to be 3 minutes. And I'm going to copy that. Next is 5, 10, 15, 30, let's see, 1 hour, 2 hour. Okay. All right, so this is going to be basically our timer model. So we are handling both scenarios. If our user of the timer model passes us the value as like 60 minutes, right, then we'd actually compute that and change it into hour, but user also has the flexibility to basically supply it as an hour value. Okay, so that's what we are doing here. We are initializing with an hour value. Okay, and with this, our timer model is ready to be used. Okay, and this is basically something that we're going to use inside our timer cell. All right, so next up, we're going to create another view, which is going to be called timer cell. So let's go ahead and select a view and select a view group, and we're going to add a new file. So Command N, select the SwiftUI view, and we are simply going to call this one timer cell. Okay, now here, I'm going to remove this, or let's keep it. Yeah, let's keep the preview. All right. Okay, what we're gonna need basically is this timer cell is gonna expect two timer models to be passed in. There's gonna be a left timer type timer model, and there's gonna be a right timer model. Okay, so it's gonna have a left and right timer model, and we get the error here. So let's go ahead and fix this. I'm gonna say timer model dot all timer values are zeros, so we're gonna get the 0th value here, and I guess the first one. Okay, now let me go ahead and start the canvas to let time it will build and stuff. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a function which is gonna be called a dial view. So it's gonna be basically the dial that we're gonna show, right? And inside the dial, we're gonna display our tick view. So the ticks of minutes, right? Seconds tick, like minute by minute, second and minute, both of them. Okay. Anyways, the ticks that we created. Okay, and then we're gonna have the title, like how many minutes, how many hours of that timer, the value that timer holds. Okay, so we're gonna have those two. So we're gonna actually create a function which we're gonna call dial view. So let's go ahead and create a function. So private function dial view, and we're gonna have a title. This is going to expect a title of type string and subtitle of type string as well. And this is going to return some view. There you go. Okay, now we're going to create a Z stack, and inside the Z stack, we're going to call our tick view first. Okay, and let me go ahead and yeah, it's not going to show anything, but okay, I just hit Command Option P to refresh the view, but there's nothing to refresh here. So let's go ahead and change that. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we have our dial view sort of ready. We're going to go back and fix that, like add more content to it, but we're going to go into our body, and we're going to create an H stack, and inside the H stack we're going to have a navigation link. Okay, now this navigation link is going to have a destination and label. So the destination is going to be the timer view that we have not created yet. Okay, so we're gonna create that. So basically, this is gonna take us to that view. Or in the meantime, what we can do is we can simply say timer view here. Okay, and for the label, this is the visual part, the displayed content for that link. So we're going to simply tell it to be a dial view here, and for the timer, for the title, we're going to say it's going to be left timer dot time title, and for the subtitle, we're going to say it's going to be left timer dot time unit title. Okay, all right, and as you can see, it has like, a rather odd view. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to say button style is going to be plain button style. There we go. So this is what our view is gonna look like. But you notice like our ticks are like, not quite visible. Okay, so what we can do for that is we're gonna add some padding here. Yes, and background for color dot white dot opacity 0.2. Okay, and then we're gonna add a clip shape of circle. There we go. Right, so this is what our view is gonna look like. Now, if you take out the padding, this is what your timer actually looks like. Actually, sort of like this one. So I'm gonna keep this one. Just gonna change a few things. I want to increase the height. So what we have 2, right? I'm gonna make it 5. I'm gonna make these sticks a little bit bigger. There we go. That's actually better looking, yeah, in my opinion. Okay, and yeah, that's actually good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is now we have our one view ready, right? I'm gonna take this navigation link and copy it for the right hand side of the timer. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we are going to say this one is going to be timer view and right timer and right timer. Okay, now, all right, let's go ahead and get our uh, dial ready. So we're gonna have a VStack here um, on the top, and inside this VStack, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a text. This text is going to hold a title. Okay, that the title that's being supplied to us, and font, right? The font is gonna be of system size. So we're gonna say system size of 24. All right, and we're gonna make this one bold, and I'm gonna give it a foreground color of orange. Okay, next we're gonna have another text right here, and this next text is gonna be our subtitle. Okay, right underneath, and it's gonna have a font, and this font is gonna be of size, system size 12. And let's give it a foreground color of white. All right, okay, so it looks like we have lost our ticks. Oh, it sure seems so. So let me go ahead and play this. Okay, so we sure don't see our ticks anymore. And all right, I think we put the padding back. So we have our padding, background, and clip shape. All right, let's see and debug it what's going on. Okay, let me go ahead and launch this inside the simulator to see like if it looks any different. All right, I forgot to change that we need to call the timer cell. So in our content view, we are still calling it hello world. So let's go ahead and change that to call the timer cell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the timer cell, and I will copy this guy right here. Go into the content view and kind of replace it, and go ahead and give it a spin again. All right, so our view does look empty. So that means our canvas words, what it was representing, is actually correct. So what we can do is, let's go ahead and try to debug this. All right, so after debugging, there's one thing I found out. So I just looked at, like, how the view is actually laid out. So if you notice, if you go inside the tick view, right, everything is flowing outside, all these values. So if you select your rectangle, it's actually flowing outside. So if you go into the timer cell and look at the tick view, it's actually out of the bound for the view that's being currently displayed. Okay, so I guess there's one thing that we can do for this. First of all, I'm going to give this a foreground color of color dot white dot opacity 0.3, and I'm going to give it a frame with height. Okay, and this height is going to be 100 points. All right, so let's go ahead and wait for our view to refresh, and there you go. So we have our view now showing up. All right. Okay, so let's see if I go ahead and launch this once again. Let's take a look at what this actually looks like. Okay, so let me go ahead and launch the simulator once again. All right, so our app is launched, and this is what our dials actually look like. Okay, so this is what we're gonna stick to, basically having these dials, 2 in a row. So you can have, like, one for 1 minute, another one for, like, there's a left value and right value, and we're gonna add more values to this. But our dial view itself is actually ready. So the way we can actually populate next values is basically gonna be in the time selection view, where which is going to be our main view, where user gets to select the timer time, like, time they want to start the timer for. Okay, so let's go ahead and start creating our time selection view, so we can have our list created. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves ready for time selection. So we're gonna create our time selection view. But before that, there's one modification that I tried out. So for the frame, instead of relying on our hard coding a value, what we can do is we can call our WK interface device, which is basically the current device, and it's similar to, like, UI screen in iOS, and you're gonna get the current device. You're gonna get hold of the current device, so you can get access to the screen bound. So we are getting current device dot screen bound, and I'm actually grabbing height from there. I'm saying, like, give me the 50% of that height. Okay, so with 50% of the height, this is what your view is actually going to look like. Now, in case if you want to change this and you want to bring your ticks back inside, what you can do is you can simply save that, and it's going to actually bring it a little bit inside, adding a little bit padding. So reason 0.45, because we are actually adding padding between our views and around. So for that reason, we need to account for those things. Okay, so with that, like, this is the view that I guess works for us. Maybe let's try out for 8, because yeah, that's actually bleeding to the edge, so that's actually perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at this one, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna create our time selection view, the video that's about. So I'm gonna select a SwiftUI view. I just hit Command N, and by now you should actually be pretty familiar with that command. We're gonna say time selection view. Okay, so this is going to be our main menu per se, like for your app. All right, and I'm gonna give us a little bit room at the bottom. Okay, so this view is gonna be rather simple. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a private um, variable. So private let timers, and this is gonna access our timer model, and it's gonna say give me all timer values, right? And here I'm gonna simply create a scroll view, right? Inside scroll view, I'm gonna create our timer cell. Now our timer cell takes left and right values, so I'm gonna simply say this is gonna be timer at 0th index and timer at first index. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy and paste and repeat this. So basically gonna be 2, and this value is gonna be 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are all the values that we have. Okay, and we're gonna give it a navigation title. We're gonna call this navigation title as timer. All right. With this change, let me go ahead and start our preview. So Command Option P is gonna start our preview build, and then our preview is gonna get loaded any minute. There we go. So let's go ahead and run this, and there we go. So this is our timer view. It's already looking beautiful, and there we go. You have your timer selections: 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30, 15, 30, 1 hour, and 2 hour. All these selections right now take you to this guy that actually just shows the timer view. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create our timer view. Okay, but before we create our timer view, we can actually create an extension for that glow effect that we're actually looking for. So we can actually create a glow simple modifier. Not really the, yeah, I mean, I think it's a modifier. Yeah, so we're gonna create a simple modifier or an extension of the view, and we're gonna call this, and we're gonna supply a value for the glow, and then we're gonna use that inside our timer view. So whenever we actually select a timer, our timer gets to run. So our timer view is gonna be the one that's actually gonna display the progress, the reverse progress bar. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and hop on. All right, so it's time to start our timer view. So let's go ahead and create a quick utility first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the utils and press Command N, and we can actually select a Swift file here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add an extension to a view itself to create a glow effect. So I'm going to say view plus glow, and what we're going to do basically is we're going to import from SwiftUI and gonna put an extension on view itself for glow. Okay, and we can expect a color. So let's say color if not provided, then we're gonna say it's gonna be red. Fix this color dot red, and wait, color of type color red. There you go. Okay, and for the radius, it is going to be of a CG float type, and we're gonna give a by default value as 10. Now this is going to return some view, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some modifiers on self, and we're gonna say that it's gonna be a shadow. So shadow, and we're gonna select the one that actually takes the color and the radius X and Y. So we're gonna say color is gonna be color, radius is gonna be the radius that's being supplied divided by 3. Okay, because we're gonna create 3 part for this shadow. So sort of like that. Okay, all right. So that is going to be our color glow extension. And now we're going to create our view for timer. Okay, so we're going to select SwiftUI view, and I'm going to call this one timer view. All right. This is actually the timer view that actually shows the timer, so that's why we're going to call this the timer view. Okay, and let's go ahead and create some variables. So one variable I want to create is going to be time remaining. It's going to be of type CG float. There's going to be a private variable for color theme, and maybe color.orange. It's going to be for that. We're going to create state variable. So state private var counter. This is going to be of CG float type, and there's going to be an environment variable that we're going to access for the presentation mode. So we're going to say dot presentation mode. Okay, and this is going to be presentation mode, like that. There you go. Okay. All right. So this is going to be the environment variable that we're going to use to dismiss our dialog. Then we're going to create a timer, and we're going to use the publisher for the timer. This is a combine extension. Basically, it publishes timer with every interval. So we're going to say publish every on in is the one that we're going to use to publish every 1 second on main run loop, and in is going to be the run loop mode. So we're going to say it's going to be the common run loop mode, and we're going to automatically connect this. So auto connect actually provides ability for publishers to auto connect and disconnect. So we're going to simply say auto connect. Okay, and that's how we're going to create a timer. Now we're going to create a formatter as well, also private var formatter, and this is going to be date component or components formatter. Okay, and we're going to create our formatter from this. And we're gonna tell, like, the allowed units are hour, minute, second, and formatter dot unit style is gonna be positional. Okay, all right. We're gonna have formatted time as well. Okay, and we're gonna use formatter dot string from. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna format the string from time interval. So time interval, and we're gonna get that value from the counter. So we know that this value is always gonna be there. So I'm just gonna force some wrap that, and I believe, like, for timer value, what we're gonna do is here. But we okay, let's see. We do need to have, like, initializer. So let's go ahead and create an initializer. Okay, so now I'm going to say initializer, and this initializer is going to take timer model. Okay, timer model. All right, and we're going to say if timer model dot unit is equal to hour, right? So it's an hour timer, like not the minute one, but the hourly. Then we're gonna say time remaining is gonna be CG float, timer model dot time times 60 times 60. Okay, 60 minutes and 60 seconds. Otherwise, we're gonna simply say self.time remaining is equal to cg float timer model dot time times 60. All right, and we're gonna also initialize our counter with a state. So we're gonna say initial value is gonna be time remaining, and that's how you basically initialize your state variable, just using their backed variable. Like, that's why if you created a counter, underscore counter is automatically created for us. That's actually the backing variable for the state, and so you can go ahead and assign that with a state initial value, and you provide the initial value. Okay, now we can actually fix this, and let me tell you a trick about fixing these, the ones that actually show this fix button, right? Okay, so what you can do is keyboard shortcut is Control Option Command F. Okay, so if you press these buttons once again, Control Option Command F, it's gonna fix all the errors. Or what you can do is, for example, if you just want to fix the error that you don't want to fix all the errors, but like just the selected ones, then you can just select that item that you want to actually fix. So for example, I'm going to select all this section, right? And I'm going to say command option control F, and it's only going to fix what's in the selected state. And this is actually the timer model it expects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a timer model. So I'm going to say, for this case, I will give it 15 minutes. There we go. All right. Okay. So now it's time for us to start creating some variables that are going to help us with the view construction. So we're going to start with a progress view. So I'm going to create private var progress view, and this is basically our progress indicator, some view. All right, we're going to create a group. Now this group is going to present a circle. Okay, and it is going to have a stroke, color theme dot opacity 0.2. So this is actually the outline, the faded outline, and this is always gonna be complete. Okay, so for the stroke, we're gonna have the style, and the style is gonna be stroke style. And stroke style takes a lot of parameters. The one that we are interested in are line width for 20 points and line cap. And we're gonna say this is gonna be round. Okay, so that's our first view. Okay, that's what we're gonna display at the back. So let me see if I can actually show you in the simulator. So this guy right here, when you click on it, the one, okay, let me select 1 minute. Okay, so this guy right here, the one that's going to show up, this background view, right, that actually displays the path this other circle is following, right? So this guy is what we have created here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create another circle, which is going to be this completion part. Okay, so let me go ahead and create another circle here. All right, now this circle is going to have a trim. Now trim is basically how you show the progress. It's basically like how you can sort of like reduce or increase the circle, the ring's progress. Okay, so you're gonna say our trim is gonna start from 0, and it's gonna go up to cg float value of and we're going to do some calculation here. So we're going to say it's going to be 1 minus time remaining minus the counter. So we can actually change the counter. So basically it's gonna, this value is gonna change, and we're gonna have divided by time remaining. Okay, so what this is gonna give us is basically, all right, let me see. So we need to do the division first. So let me fix the brackets. So we're gonna have it like this. Okay, so first this calculation is going to happen, this subtraction, then it's going to have basically divide this by time remaining, and it's going to subtract it by 1 minus. So basically this is going to give us a range, a normalized value within with 0 to within, like, you know, the bound of 0 to 1. Okay, and it's going to be a CG float type. So we're going to actually see fractional values as well. So fractional changes are going to be basically made on the progress bar. Okay, then we can have our stroke. So stroke for this, and gonna say color. So did we have, like, you know, color theme? Okay, so I think we need actually another variable for string for the ring color actually. So we don't have a variable for ring color yet, so let's go ahead and create one, because we want to compute what the ring color is going to be. So we're going to say private var color for ring. Okay, and this is going to be a computed value that's going to return color type, and we're going to say range is counter divided by time remaining. Okay, if the range is greater than or equal to 0.5, in that case we're gonna return color green. Otherwise, if the range is between 0.25, so greater than 0.25, and range is less than equal to 0.49, because we are already considering 0.45 here, 0.5 here, we can simply say return color dot orange. That's the next stage. Otherwise, we can simply return color dot red. Okay, so so this is basically going to give us the color for the ring at different stages. So we're gonna simply say our stroke color is going to be color for ring. Okay, and we're gonna give it a style, and this style is going to be a stroke style with same line width and same line cap. So basically the line width and line cap is going to be exactly this one for the stroke style. Okay, now we're gonna use our extension for glow, and we're gonna say we want to make the color glow to the color theme. Okay, and for the radius we're gonna say it's gonna be 2. Right now, what happens basically, so we're gonna apply the rotation effect, and reason we are gonna apply the rotation effect, if you notice, our progress actually starts from the top, right? If we don't apply the rotation, our progress is gonna start from here by default. Okay, so we wanna rotate it minus 90 degrees. Sorry, it's gonna actually start somewhere here or here, right? Okay, let's do the experiment. Okay, I'll put negative 90 because we wanna actually rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, so like yeah, so I think it starts here, and we're gonna rotate it 90 degrees so it goes up at top, and then we're gonna actually modify it. So we're gonna say rotation effect. For the angle we're gonna use degree. Okay, and we're going to say it's going to be -90. Okay, and we're going to give it the animation as well. Ease in, out. All right, and let's give it a frame. And frame is going to have width and height. So width is going to be WK interface device. Okay, in order to get access to the current device, we're going to use current. Okay, there are several other properties that you can actually access using this. So you can access screen scale, battery level, battery state, crown orientation, um, identifiers and stuff like that. Is water lock enabled and stuff like that. So this is basically going and accessing the values from your Apple Watch. What we need is screen bounds. Okay, because we want to get access to the width of the screen. Okay, and we want to multiply this with 0.75. So we want to have our circle showing up on the 75% of the screen size. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this value and paste it right here, because there's only one thing that I'm going to change. It's going to be height. So height is also going to be excuse me, 75%, and there you go. So that is going to be the bound for our progress view. Okay, now we do need a completed view as well. So whenever our progress actually completes, we need a completed view. So private var completed timer view. Okay, and here we're gonna have a rounded rectangle with corner radius of about 10 points, and we're gonna fill this, and we're gonna fill with color dot black dot opacity 0.7. Okay, all right, and I'm gonna give it a frame, and this frame for this one is going to be this one is going to be covering the entire screen. So I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to remove the width 0.75 part, and for the height, I'm going to just say this is going to be the height value, and you don't have to define the alignment, which is center by default. Okay, so this is going to be the frame for our rounded rectangle. This is going to be shown at the top when our timer runs out, and we're going to add an overlay on this. So the overlay is going to be a VStack. All right, and in that VStack, we're going to have a text which is going to have timer/n done. Font is going to be title. There's going to be a button with action and label. All right, and the action in this case is basically going to be presentation mode dot wrapped value. So we're gonna access that wrapped value, and we're gonna dismiss the modal. Okay, so that's how we actually dismiss the modal. And for the text, we're gonna, instead of button, we're gonna say it's gonna be close, and we're gonna make it bold. Okay, and for the entire button, we're gonna say it has a background of a rounded rectangle with corner radius of 20 points and fill value of color theme. Okay, all right, so that's going to be our completed view. Okay, now all that is left is basically combining everything together. So we're going to have a Z stack. Right, inside that Z stack, we're going to first have our progress view. Okay, and one thing I want to point out, that progress view is inside a group. Now, group itself is sort of like, is not a container basically. So it's sort of like combining your stuff inside a block. So any modifier that you apply, it's going to be applied on each of the elements defined inside the group. But as soon as we put this whole thing like progress view inside the Z stack, what's going to happen is your group is going to have circle, which is going to go inside the Z stack, and there's going to be another circle that's going to sit inside the Z stack. Okay, so that's how it actually works. So group itself does not have any of the layout properties. Okay, so it's just a helper for us to create some common properties, like to apply common modifiers basically. For the font, for formatted time font, we're gonna use title 2. Okay, and we're gonna put a if condition here. So we're gonna say if counter runs out and it's less than equal to 0, then we want to show the completed timer view. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to attach a publisher to it. So we're going to say on receive value. So whenever a publisher actually publishes the value for the publisher, in this case is going to be the timer. All right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to when we receive our timer after 1 second, because we have subscribed to that publisher, right? We're gonna basically check the value for counter. If the counter value is still greater than 1 or greater than 0, then we're gonna simply take the counter value and subtract 1 from that. Okay, and we are also gonna add a bit of a padding overall. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and build and run our canvas and see if we are able to actually render the UI properly. Okay, so I'm going to wait a few seconds here, and it's going to come back anytime. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to run this and let it build, and there we go. So we have our timer running, and basically this ring is also moving. So let's go ahead and speed things up a bit. So instead of like having it like trigger every second, I'm gonna say it's gonna be 0.1, and let me go ahead and build again so we can see the effect in much more faster. Okay, let's say still building. Yeah, still building. Okay, preview crashed. Let's try it one more time. Stop and build. Okay. All right, so the timer crashed, so I had to clean the project and build it again, and there we go. We have our timer running, and as you can see, it's actually moving at a much faster rate for 15-minute timer. So I'm gonna let it run because I want to see the color state being reflected as well. So when we what's supposed to happen basically is when we hit the 50% of the timer, then our ring color should change into orange. So there we go. So we have color changed into orange, and that's also animated. So there we go. And as soon as we actually reach to last 25% of the timer, then the color is gonna change again into red color. So let's go ahead and check that out. So there we go. And for last few minutes, we're gonna actually see if our timer is gonna trigger the other state, which is the timer done state or not. So that's going to basically confirm that all of our API. So there we go. So all of our API, the view that we have created, is all working fine. Okay. So now when we have our timer view ready, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our timer cell. Okay. And remember this destination that we actually created inside the timer cell. We are actually sort of launching a text. Here we're going to actually, instead of launching text, we're going to say it's going to be the timer view, and we're going to give it left model, so left timer, and for the other one, we're going to say this one is going to be the right timer, like that. Okay. All right, with this change, we can actually go ahead and build our app. So let me go ahead and run it in the simulator, and I'll be back as soon as the app is launched. All right, so the app was launched, but we only see these two timer values. All right, so let's go ahead and see what's going on. So I guess we forgot that we are calling timer cell inside our content view. So instead of calling timer cell, we're gonna call timer selection view instead. Okay, so let me go ahead and give it another go. All right, so the app is launched, and this is our timer view that we are actually looking at here. So let me go ahead and try to scroll, and as you can see, we have all the timers. Timers are showing up just nice. So I'm going to select a 1 minute, and it's going to be really fast because we have sped up things. So that's actually good. We're going to click close, and closes that. And this is our 3 minute timer, and this is also working fine. So let's go ahead and go back into our timer view, and I'm going to fix this. And instead of 0.1 second, I'm going to say what the actual value is going to be, which is every second the timer is going to be publishing the value. Okay, I'm going to give it another go. All right, and the timer is launched, so let's go ahead and take a look at now. So it should actually work the way the timer should work. It should show exactly 1 minute when we ask for 1 minute timer, and if it should ask for 3 minutes, when we ask for 3 minutes, it should show us 3 minutes. So there you go. That's your timer. Let's go ahead and try it out with an hour. So there we go. This is an hour, and this is 2 hours of a timer. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is it for this video. This entire video series came to an end. Thanks again for watching and your continued support. And I hope you like this one. And I'll see you guys in another video series. So thank you so much.